Hey everybody, my name is Holly Lamb. Welcome and Happy New Year. Today is New Year's Eve and I'm trying to get one more video in before the new year. We're going to start off at my spray paint table with some primer. All of my DIYs today are what I would consider thrift flips, and I'm going to be priming them, painting them, and then adding transfers and stamps to some of them. IOD transfers and stamps, and so I'm going to use several different ones. We'll start off at the gathering place thrift shop on the half off shelves today, and I found these two. They were $4 to start. I got them each for $2. These beautiful terracotta canisters. So I went ahead and primed them outside on the spray paint table. This one had a little crack in it. The other one was fine, but I'm going to go ahead and put some super glue in there. This is the super glue I get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to put a little bit of super glue in there, and then I don't put it on film, but I put a little bit of air dry clay in there and let it dry, and it covers it right up. Now we're going to start off with my favorite Waverly chalk paint, the plaster color, which is just an off-white. It's kind of a winter white. And I'm doing these thrift flips for winter. They're not necessarily scream winter, but they certainly are winter themed. And I'm gonna be using transfers. So best practice for transfers is to put them on a sealed project, a sealed piece. So I'm using this super matte Mod Podge for my sealer. And so I'm just going to kind of cover that up. I don't want any chips and cracks. I'm not going to do any distressing on these canisters. I liked them just that beautiful rounded white edge. Now, this is the Candy Cane Cottage transfer, which was new out this Christmas. And I'm going to be using these first two sheets in my flips today. It had lots and lots of Christmas and some beautiful things for Christmas, but these two pages are not overtly Christmas. There are some red berries, but if you see the leaves there, they're not holly leaves, they're not poinsettia leaves, they're just leaves. And these are beautiful pink and red roses. And so this is, these canisters, I believe I'll be able to use all the way through February until we get to March and start doing some spring things. And honestly, they look a little springy to me. Now, because this is a cylinder, I am going to be putting some relief cuts into my backing sheet there, the part with the grid on it. And I just cut in a couple of little relief spots so that they lay down nice and flat. I could cut up that vellum piece right there, just all the bits, but it really won't matter as long as that transfer, the picture part, goes down flat. That's all I'm looking for. Now that grid there, it will, if I'm scraping on it, it does scrape up. So I have to be super careful to watch that I don't get that little bit of black from the grid lines on my plaster painted piece. And so look how beautiful this is. Gorgeous. Those roses, so pretty. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and seal the transfer in, and I don't mind to paint that on. In a little bit, we're going to be putting some stamps on. I do not paint over ink. I spray the ink. So now there's the little tree that I put on one side of one of the canisters. I just couldn't resist. It was so gorgeous. It had all the roses all over the Christmas tree. So that's on one side of one of my canisters, but I put these two smaller versions of that first transfer on the back of the Christmas tree one. And of course I burnish it in, make sure all that gorgeousness is all the way down into the paint. Now, I wanted to kind of connect them, and so I'm using the Winter Adornment stamp. This is also a new stamp out. It's a two-page stamp set. And I'm going to be using one of these huge, gorgeous swags, which honestly are exactly like the roses, berries, leaves look that are in the transfers there in Candy Cane Cottage. And look at that gorgeous swag. And so I'm just going right over the transfer. The ink goes right on top of it. You can see the swag I'm using now. Now I'm setting it down on a bag of pasta, and I'm using this potting soil. It's called potting soil, that's the color. But it reads gold to me on the white. Now I can do this cylindrical stamping because of these thin mounts. These are like $3. You can get them from all the stockists. My stockist is Deborah from Cottle and Gun, but you probably have a stockist close to you as well. I've put Deb's website address in my description box. I don't get a kickback or anything from it. She's just a friend, and so I want you to have somewhere easy to get your IOD supplies if you need it. Now I'm creating my own little spray here to fit the hole that I'm needing to cover up. But now I have put stamps on one side of all of my canisters, so I don't want to lay it back down on the bag. So this time I'm going to do a second type of technique, and I am going to hold one hand super still and then use the other hand to push, push, push down on the stamp. And look how pretty! That potting soil color of ink in the archival ink there is so pretty. I think it just reads kind of a dark antique gold. And I think they just look lovely. And it kind of ties in the transfers. So pretty. So on the other side of that one, there's that pretty Christmas tree, but you'd never know it unless you were outside. Okay, so let's move on. This is the Goodwill. This is the regular side of the Goodwill, not the bins. I found this interesting candelabra with the cute little candle cups. It was only $2.99 for this all wood, solid wood piece. And it was so well made, nothing was wrong with it. So I decided to take it home. Now look at these cute little angels. Somebody started painting one of them there. I kind of wish I would have brought those home to make them finish them up. What, angels all over the place. There. Now, I'm going to use gesso for my primer on this piece only because it was kind of a rainy day. And so I couldn't get outside to do any spray paint. Luckily down here in South Georgia, we can spray paint through most of the winter. Of course, you wouldn't want to be out there in freezing weather, but we don't get a lot of hard freezes. We've had a couple of cold nights down here, but it's not too bad. But it was rainy, and so I decided to use gesso, which is used by artists, you know, to put onto canvases and give them kind of a primer coat. So that's 2 coats of gesso, and then I'm going to be using ivory this time. I decided I wanted to try the ivory and see how much I liked it, see if it would be a nice winter white for this winter. And it is slightly more, I want to say creamy than the plaster color in the Waverly paint, which is, of course, my chalk paint of choice because I can get it at Wal Mart because I'm at Wal Mart every week. So it's just easy to pick up my Waverly chalk paint, and it is easy to deal with. Now there is I'm going to do a transfer, so I want to make sure that I cover it with a little bit of a top coat. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit of distress on this one. I like to distress back to wood. And so what I'm doing right there with my sanding block is I'm just getting rid of any brush strokes and trying to get rid of any brush strokes I might have from the gesso or from the chalk paint. And then I use those nail files from Amazon, and I just am hitting the highlights, the top, the corners, the little rounded parts of the candle cups, and the edges of the base. You know, just giving it some character. I like the way that looks. I don't always distress, but I like the way wood distresses back from this off-white, even this ivory, and I really am loving this ivory color. All right, now the last time we were down at Cottle and Gun in November, there's my parents sitting outside her beautiful store, Deborah's. We were down there, and I went straight back. I wasn't interested in the Christmas. I went straight back to IOD and wanted to see what she had. Of course, I order from her online all the time, but I like to go there because I like to put my hands on things. And I got the brocante transfer pack. Now, this is not new. This has been out a couple of years, excuse me. And I got it mainly for those birds right there, for the beautiful florals, and then for this, well, I'll show you in a little bit, the little lamb, or it's actually a sheep, on the first page, but we'll get to him in a minute. But I'm going to put this little label. It has something to do with herbs. Most of the what am I trying to say? The verbiage in the Iron Orchid Designs transfer packs are typically French. And so I'm going to put this one with the bird on one side. And it has, it looks Valentine's-y to me. And so I thought I could have it showing on this side for Valentine's Day. And on the other side, it's got something to do with herbs. So I'm going to have it on that side for any other time, honestly, because we can use herbs all year round. And so there I go with my little transfer stick again, and I'm having to be super careful to watch out for those grid lines because I'm scraping up some of the black off those grids. And I don't want to get it in my pretty ivory paint, which is just a little bit creamier than the plaster. Loving that color. There's my pretty bird. The nice thing about transfers is you can't see, it's not like a sticker or like a vinyl window cling. You can't see a edge, like a sticker's clear edge on most things. Things like this, no edge will ever be seen. I'll get real close in the final look of these and you won't be able to see an edge. If I were putting it on clear glass, you could see a little edge. But on these right here, they just do so beautifully and just look like they're always been part. All right, so here is my top coat of choice. Now, I don't mind to paint on top of transfers, but again, I don't like to paint on top of stamps. And the other two projects that I'm going to be doing in this one, I'm going to be using stamps on. Okay, so at the Restore, they're having a 50% off the whole store until January 3rd. It's called their Christ is Born sale. And so I've been down there several times this holiday break. I get ready to go back to school on Tuesday, and then the kids come back on Wednesday. So we're excited about that for a fresh start. I start teaching them and reviewing the notes on the scale. And Every Good Boy Does Fine and FACE Face and all that good stuff. And the littles, we start talking about the alphabet, the music alphabet, 7 letters. And so lots of new concepts and new fresh things. It's fun for me as a teacher to teach them lots of new things and not just rehearse old stuff. And they're just little sponges. They just soak it up. So for this one, at the Restore, lose my track. At the Restore, they only had 4 candles. And so it was kind of a happy accident because I tried to make a little kind of a herb spray there on that top candle cup. Put a little bit of styrofoam in there from one of the succulent containers from the Dollar Tree. And I love it. I love how that was a happy little accident. We put some of that frosted fern up there. All right, now we're back to some more thrift flips. Now, these are not from a thrift store. These are from the Dollar General. These are from my penny shopping, which I definitely consider thrift because I paid 1 penny for each of these items. I consider that thrift. Now, I took them out and primed them, and I brought them back in. Of course, I have the little tabs there taped up with painter's tape. And I'm using the Whispering Willow transfer on these. And I'm looking for things in my Whispering Willow transfer pack that are kind of gray, off-white, winter white, black and white. That's kind of the vibe I'm going for here. And I'm going to use this little mushroom transfer, and I'm just making it fit right there. And I'm using my hedgehog. It's time to get the hedgehog out. Little hedgehog just needs to be in my little frames here. I put 2 coats of the plaster chalk paint after doing the primer. And so that white primer makes me not have to do the 3rd coat. This little sprig was kind of a purpley gray. So it fit my whole color scheme here for winter. And for this little vignette in my kitchen table. And so there I go, trying to stay right on the backing sheet. Don't touch the paint, being very careful not to do that so I don't either scrape up paint or push some of that black grid ink on my projects. Oh, I just love that so much. All right, now I went ahead and distressed. I'm not gonna show you me distressing. I've already showed you me distressing on the candelabra. So there's a little bit of distressing, but I am gonna show you this. This is the vintage texture stamp, and I've used these before in my DIYs. I'm gonna use that small little tiny crackle stamp, and I'm gonna be using the ink pads from the Dollar Tree. And this is the black one. I picked up a couple of different colors to try out, and I'm a fan. I liked them very much. We'll see how long they last. I just got them, so I can't say how long they're gonna last, but in the projects for this video, I was super pleased. I'm just gonna randomly put that crackle stamp on these three little projects. Now, the Tart pans that you see in the far corner, we're going to talk about those in just a second. I do very similar items on those. I also did my stamping on those. So I like to spray stamps. I don't like to paint with a brush on stamp ink. Look at my little hedgehog with his little crackle face. So cute. I just love the random crackling on these pieces. So simple, so pretty. Just adds that little element of texture. Love it. All right, so these Tart pans are going to be a little bit easier to do that stamping on because I can take it out of the frame. And of course, the frame being the Tart pan part. But the little base, I'm just going to give another couple of coats of the chalk paint on. And then I'm going to, do front sides, the whole shebang there. Yeah. I am going to distress a little bit on these. Back to the brocante, and there he is. There's that fancy little sheep. One of the main reasons I made sure to get that. I was excited to see the brocante book there at Cottle and Gun that day in November. And then look at that little hen. Looks like they're looking at each other, the rooster and the hen. We're going to save the rooster for another day, but the hen's going to come and be on our other little Tart pan. Now, the sheep had a little bit of typography, so I'm going to go ahead and get this little bit for underneath the hen. And it fits just right on the inside of our little Tart pan base. These Tart pans are, I don't remember where exactly I got this one, but they are readily available at thrift shops. Now, that little skinny piece of typography, I did get a little bit of the black from the grid on it. I was trying to scrape it off there. But do you see that little bit of black? So, no worries. I just had to take an extra step and get a little artist brush there and cover it up. So that was a simple fix. But again, be careful if you're using the transfer. I love the grid lines. It helps me to line things up. But I just have to be careful not to scrape it onto my project. Now here, I'm scraping paint off my project. I wanted this to look just a little bit distressed, just pulling a little bit off the edge. So a little of that silvery metal comes through on the edges. It's hard to see in the video, but you can see it in person here. And then I ink up the center of my stamp there, the crackle stamp, and then I just kind of randomly, I'm not trying to push down the whole stamp. I'm just doing little bibs and bobs around, putting it on top of the sheep and then around. Yep, did a little bit more there. I didn't want it to look too uniform, but I didn't want it to have a big hole with no crackle on it. I guess I was trying to be a little bit too literal. I don't know. But I just couldn't stop myself. And then I always like to wipe off stamps right after I use them, if it's going to be a minute before I use them again, because I don't want a lot of ink to stay on the stamp. Because I'm going to go ahead and hot glue this base into the outside of the Tart tin. And this is just my regular hot glue from Wal Mart. So, of course, we know that hot glue on metal will come off. It'll pop out if I push it hard enough, but it's going to hold on just fine for what I need it for. I'm just going to be propping them up on some easels on the buffet in my kitchen, and so it'll hold just fine. So here I go, inking it up again, and notice how I have the stamp pad upside down. I like these Dollar Tree the covers to the stamp pad, because the stamp part sits right down in that cover, almost like it's a base, which, you know, it's really the top. So that's another plus for the Dollar Tree stamps, is the top part sits really nice into and acts like a base, so I can keep my stamp upside down, keep the ink up top. And so here they are. I think they look so handsome, that little sheep and his little writing, and then our hen in their winter white and grays. So pretty. I just love how these all have turned out. Now, I was trying to show the hen tin is in plaster and reads a little bit more white than the candelabra. This is the ivory. Has a little bit creamier look. It's hard to tell with the shadows and the light coming in from the end of the day. And then the tin reads a little bit more white. It's a little hard to tell, but here we are. All right, I want to share a couple of scriptures for the new year, 2024. This is 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. And then Isaiah 43:18 and 19. Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Rivers in the desert. This new year, I am facing another medical challenge. I have another malignant tumor, and so we're starting a new course of treatment. I will start radiation in about a week and a half, and with it will be a chemo pill, and I've never done a chemo pill, and I've never done radiation, so this is all new. But I have great doctors and great nurses, and just a massive amount of support from my friends and family. And so I face the future with the Lord at my side, and just like the poem in Footprints, it's then when I carried you. And so I feel very carried, and I want to thank you for watching, and I want to wish you from the Blue House on the Corner, I pray the happiest blessings for you in 2024. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.